Kyle Rowdy Busch making a stand early in the season, the impact that's going to have on the competition, and Paul Menard and Justin Marks racing in 2023.
3, 2, 1.
Where there's smoke, there is fire. And I'm not talking about a fire like we saw under this car earlier this year. I'm talking about the fire under Kyle Busch and that RCR number 8. Getting it done in the second race of the year at Fontana. First win in the Chevrolet in many years. First win with RCR. And setting the bar across the NASCAR level of competition, saying if you want to win this year, you're going to have to beat us first. It's obvious to me that way anyway. Ever since they unloaded the car at the Coliseum, they've been competitive. Could have won last week at Daytona. Obviously getting the win this week at Fontana. I think they're saying, hey, you better stand up and take notice, because if you want to win, you got to beat us first. At least that's the way it looks right now. And Kyle Busch is one of them drivers. You get a fire under his ass, he's going to be hard to beat. So I think it's going to be a very interesting year to see how this plays out. See who does get wins. As I've said in the past, I don't think we're going to have as many new winners or one-time winners this year. I think there'll be a lot more repeat winners. It would not be one bit surprised to see Kyle Busch be the very first repeat winner of the season. Now, I think this puts a lot of pressure on some other teams out there to step up and compete with these guys. I think there's no team out there that's got more pressure on them right now than Joe Gibbs Racing. After letting KB walk away and go to RCR, right now it looks like that was a very bad decision. But we'll see how it all plays out throughout the year. See what that 54 car can do. As I've said, I think Ty Gibbs will probably get a win this year. But if he doesn't, going to leave a lot of people scratching their heads, asking questions. Did JGR make the right decision? Or does RCR look like he just won the lottery? Because right now, that man looks like he got the best scratch-off ticket in the state of North Carolina. Anyways, we'll see how this all plays out. It's going to be fun to watch. Another story that we're going to keep up with throughout the year is what I brought up in my episode last week about a team that could possibly lose their charter. I'm going to keep up with that because I think it's a very interesting story within itself all year. That's the 15 of Rick Ware Racing. Finished 10th last week at Daytona. Finished 23rd with J.J. Yeley behind the wheel this past weekend. Sitting pretty in 16th in points. So this is going to be a wild story to keep up with. As I said, if you're not familiar with it, you can go back to watch the episode. But just to go over it really quick, if they fail to finish in the top 33 in points this year, they can lose their charter to NASCAR, which, as I said, I think will happen because there's so many teams eager to expand or other teams that want to come in. So going to be a wild story to keep up with. Now, the other topic of this is Paul Menard and Justin Marks racing in 2023. They kicked off their season this last weekend at Sebring in the Trans Am Series. Justin Marks getting the pole, Paul Menard on the outside pole. And let's just take a look at these cars. And one of the things that attracted me to this series is how mean these race cars look. They just look badass. And if you take a look at this one right here, this is another notable name to NASCAR. That is Boris Said. Now, there was another notable name that was there for the race. That was the guy who was there to give the command for the race, and that was Mr. Richard Petty. Old RP was out there signing autographs, doing a lot of things with a lot of people. Looked like he had a very good time. So very cool to see him out there. And the reason behind why he was out there, more than just being a Grand Marshal, is because his grandson, Thad Moffitt, is making his debut running a full-time season in the Trans Am 2 Series. He come home with a 12th place finish, and it's going to be very cool to see how this works out because both Justin and Thad are running full-time. Haven't really heard whether Paul's going to be running a full-time series, but I know he was looking last year at the end of the year like he wanted to run a full-time series with this. So it's going to be pretty wild to see how this all plays out. But there was two other names that were involved with this race, and they finished first and second. Now, these are names that are synonymous with IndyCar and open-wheel racing, and that was Brabham and Andretti. Now, Matthew Brabham coming home with the win in the Trans Am Series. Adam Andretti coming home in second. So, again, this is a very cool series with a lot of really notable names in it. Something very cool to keep up with. If you want me to keep talking about this throughout the year, let me know. Probably going to be hitting on it here and there, especially when something big happens with it. But I always welcome your comments with this because that's what this is all about. Talk racing and talk about what everybody wants to hear. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. To everybody who's subscribed in the last week, really appreciate it. As I say, this is what we're here to do, talk racing and have fun with friends. And I want you to be my friend with this show and keep communicating with everybody on it because that's what I love. Love talking racing. Love seeing people's comments. So keep them coming in. Going to have more episodes coming later this week. And as always, we'll see you at the checkered flag.